Los que militamos en el bando de los inconformes y de los optimistas, como Fidel y Raúl, aprendimos con ellos y sus compañeros de lucha que todos los desafíos pueden ser vencidos. Los cubanos estamos demostrando otra vez que sí se puede. Hay un componente que está en el ADN cubano, en la mezcla magnífica de etnias e historia de resiliencias continuas de la que emerge esa dulce palabra cubano. Gracias, Cuba. Siempre será un honor estar a tu servicio, patria amada.
Pero es que no solo algunos de ustedes.
But it happens that not only some of you, but
que me recibían a mí.
I was also wondering why I was being welcomed like this.
Yo mismo,
It is that I myself,
cuando me estaba vistiendo
while I was getting dressed
para venir
to
acá,
come here tonight,
me quité de todos los trajes.
I got rid of the business suit.
Y me puse esta ropa que es la que había usado.
I got rid of my business suit and then I went into this fatigues which I have been wearing for so many years. I have been wearing this till international diplomacy has forced me, not very long ago,
a ponerme una guayabera.
to wear a guayabera.
Pero descubrí
But then I discovered
que yo no tenía una sola guayabera.
that I did not have only one guayabera.
Me prestaron guayabera.
Then I had to borrow one.
Movilizaron no sé cuánta gente.
They mobilized I don't know how many
Hicieron
tailors
guayabera.
in order to have some guayaberas cut for me.
Por la noche.
That was in the
Yo
midnight.
me tenía que ir al otro día.
I was supposed to leave on that trip
Me
the
la
next
probaron
day.
por la mañana
I tried it in the morning
y realmente estaba tan
and actually it did not fit.
amplia
It was so big.
que yo en broma
It was so big that as a joke,
le dije a los amigos,
I said to my friends,
le dije,
Look,
Me refería a una persona
I mentioned a person
con la que he tenido contradicciones,
with whom I have had some contradictions,
pero que a la que pude conocer
but
también.
somebody I was able to meet later, and he's not a bad person.
Era presidente de un país
He was the president of a country,
latinoamericano.
of a Latin American country.
Y yo le dije, óigame,
And he was fat.
ustedes me han hecho la guayabera del gordo tal.
So I said to the tailor, you have tailored that guayabera for that man and not for me.
Corre, recorta.
It was broad like this,
Pero me tuve que poner la
but I
guayabera.
had to wear it nonetheless.
Después le cuento a un amigo, a una
After
familia
that, I said it to a friend,
que tenía
to a family
una hija
who
diseñadora.
happened to have a daughter who's a designer.
Holanda, Inglaterra.
In Holland, she had studied
Esa
in
familia
Europe.
tenía relaciones
That
con Cuba hace
family
mucho
had had
tiempo.
relations with Cuba for a long
Yo le había
time.
contado que descubrí que no tenía ningún
I told them
traje.
that I discovered that I did not have any civilian clothes.
Entonces me ofreció los
So they
servicios
offered me her
de la
services,
familia
that family,
para hacerme un traje.
and then she designed some suits for me.
Bueno, en realidad me hicieron como
Well, actually,
3 o 4.
she prepared about 3 or
Pero yo
4
de
suits for me.
trajes le aseguro que
But
no
I
sabía
assure you
nada,
that I did not know anything about suits,
ni la tela,
nothing about the clothes
ni la camisa,
or the shirt
ni la corbata,
or the tie
ni los yugos.
or the
De
couplings.
repente ponerme
You know,
los yugos,
I did not know anything.
unos zapatos de punta.
And the shoes, very
Ya
uncomfortable
los
shoes.
pies míos no estaban acostumbrados a eso.
You know, I was not used to that.
Tenía unas viejas botas,
I had my old boots,
media raídas ya,
somewhat old, and
no por pobreza,
not because I was
sino
poor,
por costumbre.
but
Ya
because
yo
I was in the habit of wearing my
le
old
tenía
boots.
tanto cariño a mis
They
botas
were
que no
so
me las
comfortable, you know, that I did not want to leave them for a new pair of shoes.
quería quitar. Y entonces, por fin terminé
Finally,
con
I ended up
guayabera,
dressed in a guayabera,
traje,
in a business suit,
corbata,
with a tie,
camisa,
with a shirt,
yugo,
with the cufflinks,
zapatos,
with shoes.
que no me los pongo porque
I'm not wearing them now.
No los pies ya no pudieran muchos años.
I don't like them much, you know.
Y por fin, bueno, y ahora soy un honorable caballero.
And now I am an honorable gentleman.
Participo en las reuniones cumbre. Y a cada rato hay una reunión cumbre. Bueno,
Once in a
ya
while there are summit conferences and I have to dress up like an honorable gentleman in a business suit.
la reunión sobre desarrollo social.
There was another summit on social development.
Que si París.
And in Paris, I had to pay a visit to that country, to France.
En todos los lugares me bajo con este.
In every place, you know, I leave the plane wearing my fatigues.
Las visitas
And then I change for those protocol visits. I wear my business suits.
Y entonces, bien. No sé si me he ido civilizando.
I don't know if it is because I'm becoming more civilized.
Pero tampoco quería dar la impresión de ayudar que yo fuera a aparecer como un señor militar allí o algo de eso. Que yo no estudié esa carrera.
You know, I did not study the career of looking like a gentleman in a business
A mí
suit.
no me quedó más remedio que
I only had to do it.
tener que luchar,
And I did not study to be a politician. I had to
aprender.
I had to learn the trade along the way.
Hicimos algunas guerras y lo interesante es que las ganamos.
And the interesting thing is that we waged a battle and we won.
La nuestra era muy difícil, pero no le voy a hacer esa historia.
It is very difficult, but I'm not going to tell you that old story.
Pero llegamos a ser muy poquitos.
But there was a time in which we were only a few.
A veces menos de 10.
Sometimes there was a time in which we were less than 10.
12.
Sometimes we were 12.
Pero nuestros adversarios eran como 80.
But our adversaries,
Y al final en 25
though there were many, in 25 months,
nuestra revolución venció.
our revolution was victorious.
Lo venció de manera total. En combate abierto.
We won in the open battles.
Estamos siendo guerrillas y después.
We were in the guerrilla forces.
Una combinación
And then with the combination of irregular war,
habíamos aprendido el oficio.
we learned the trade of guerrilla warfare.
Pero nos gustó aquella ropa y nos quedamos con
But we
ella.
liked those fatigues that we wore at that time.
Me sentía muy cómodo,
And as I felt so comfortable in those fatigues, I kept wearing them all these years.
Les contaba que fui al hotel.
Anyway, I was telling you the story.
No estoy en hotel, no.
I went to the hotel, not to the hotel, excuse me.
En la misión de la embajada.
I went to the Cuban mission.
Allí, a ponerme esta ropa.
To wear this fatigue, to go back into my fatigues because I had been wearing the business suit before.
Porque yo decía,
because I said to myself,
si la otra vez fui con esta ropa,
if the last time I went to Harlem I was wearing my fatigues,
¿cómo me voy a aparecer en Harlem?
How come I'm going to go to Harlem
vestido
dressed
de
in a business suit?
Pensaba en estas cosas, pero de repente se me ocurrió pensar lo
I
mismo
was thinking
que
about
contaba.
this, but after that I started thinking what I said before.
¿Qué hago yo en Harlem
What am I going to do in Harlem?
esta noche?
What am I going to do there tonight?
¿Qué hago?
What shall I do?
¿Qué digo?
What shall I say?
Porque yo, bueno, en las Naciones Unidas puedo decir algunas cosas.
I can say a few things at the United Nations,
Pero aquí no tenemos inmunidad
but
parlamentaria.
here we don't have
nosotros.
immunity to go into certain subjects.
No puedo alcanzar la libertad. Tengo además, si allí soy cuidadoso,
There I have to be
pero
careful,
aquí también lo tengo que ser.
but here I have to be cautious
Nadie
too.
vaya a pensar
Nobody should
que yo
believe
me mezclo en los asuntos
that I'm
internos de Estados Unidos.
interfering in internal affairs of this country.
Tengo que venir a saludar
I
a
said
mis
to myself, I
hermanos
have to go there and say hello to those
en
people,
Harlem,
because it was in
y
Harlem
junto con ellos a los hermanos
where I have to go and visit there, and together with them, the Latin American,
los hermanos de Puerto Rico,
the Puerto Rican brothers and sisters.
y algunos hablaron.
And some have been spoken here.
Había eventos, había cosas. Ayer creo que había una
I think
comida.
that yesterday there was a dinner.
Yo creo que el alcalde dijo que yo
Yes,
era
but
un
I think
demonio.
the mayor said that I
que
was
un
a
demonio
demon,
no se le podía invitar a
and that
una
a demon
comida.
could not be invited to dinner.
Caramba, voy a pasar hambre el
I
primer
said I'll
día.
go hungry the first day on New York.
Después me dijeron que había un concierto,
After that, I was told that there would be a concert,
pero que invitaban a las Naciones
that the
Unidas.
United Nations was extending the invitations,
Pero la orquesta era de la alcaldía.
but the orchestra was under the mayor.
La alcaldía dijo, o el alcalde, no,
And the mayor seemed to have said,
de ninguna manera
No
aquella
way.
orquesta podía tocar donde
the
estuviera el
orchestra cannot
demonio
play if the demon is in the hall.
Sí. Lo insólito.
It's really incredible.
Una familia amistosa,
It's outrageous because here there is a friendly family,
rica,
a
empresaria,
wealthy
un
family,
grupo de
and a
empresarios
group of businessmen
me invitaron.
invited me last night for dinner.
Invitaron al demonio.
They invited the demon.
Paradojas.
It's a paradoxical,
Y debemos alegrarnos,
and we should be happy
porque son muchos más
because there are many more,
los que comprenden.
the people who
Todas estas
understand
cosas del bloqueo son
that
cosas
the blockade
absurdas,
and all those things are
y
obsolete,
son cosas locas.
that those are crazy things.
Y muchos hombres de empresas
And many businessmen
se oponen hoy al
are
bloqueo
today opposed to the blockade.
y luchan contra el
And they
bloqueo.
are striving against the blockade in their own way.
Ahora bien, yo no estoy aquí
Now, I am not here
porque no me hayan invitado a una comida.
because they did not invite me to dinner tonight.
Aquella vez
But that day,
fueron días realmente para mí
I mean,
inolvidables.
those were unforgettable days for me, the days when I came to the Theresa Hotel many years ago.
Era tal la hostilidad por todas partes.
There was such hostility.
Había tanta campaña
There was such a campaign
que yo pasaba por una zona
against our country
y me hacían así.
that I passed by one area and they did like this.
Yo no sabía qué quería decir aquello.
I did not
pero
know
me
what they
imaginaba
meant
que
by
era
that, but I
algo
could imagine that it was
poco amistoso.
something was wrong.
Pero todo cambiaba cuando llegaba a Harlem.
But everything changed when I came to Harlem.
Todo el
In
mundo-
Harlem, you did this.
Hoy hay algunos cambios, excepto algunos compatriotas nuestros que
Today it
todavía
is
no se han
different,
acabado de
with the
convertir a
exception
la
of some
causa
fellow citizens of
de la
ours
soberanía
who have
nacional.
not yet become
algunos.
followers of the cause of sovereignty
Algunos
and
porque
independence. Only a
realmente
few.
van siendo menos.
Actually, they are less and less.
Gastaron dinero, gastaron de todo,
They spent money.
pagaron y buscaron no sé cuántos recursos.
And they found resources.
Me decía una periodista, ¿usted sabe qué?
A journalist was telling me this evening,
Hay 58 protestas.
do you know that there have been 57 protests against you?
Dígame, qué suerte
I
tengo
said,
yo que no he visto ninguna.
I'm a lucky man. I have not seen any.
Yo no sé de dónde sacó el dato.
I don't know where she
he
get the
visto
data,
miles de gente saludando
but I
a
said, I have
papá.
seen thousands of people saying hello.
Ahora hay gente que me saluda en muchos lugares.
I have seen many people waving hands at me.
Sí, realmente hay cambios.
I've seen changes in the
Tener
way
en cuenta
people
que en aquellos
look at
momentos
us.
se vivía la Guerra Fría.
Remember that in those days when I came here first, those were the days of the Cold War.
Con la revolución recién nacida.
The revolution was practically a newborn.
Eso fue en el año 60.
That was in the year 1960.
Y entonces me hicieron la vida imposible.
And then
en
they
el
made
hotel.
life very difficult for me in that hotel where I
Y
was
yo tenía
staying.
todavía un poco de mentalidad guerrillera.
I still had somewhat the mentality of guerrilla.
Me voy para el
So
patio
I
de
said,
las Naciones
I'm going to
Unidas,
set up a tent in the patio of the UN.
en una casa de campaña allí.
I'm going to set up my tent there.
Entonces, seguí pensando, si hubiera un contacto aquí con el Hotel Theresa.
And then it was said that we had the contact with the Theresa Hotel.
Hay una cosa mucho más estratégica.
I said there is something more strategic than that.
Irme a parar allí en el Hotel Theresa.
I'm going to stay at Theresa
Porque
Hotel.
aquí yo sabía que iba a contar con el
I knew
corazón
that
de
here
esta
I would have
comunidad.
the heart of the neighbors of Harlem.
Era evidente. Era evidente la injusticia, era evidente la
Injustice
discriminación.
was obvious. Discrimination was obvious to me.
Y como revolucionario,
And as a revolutionary,
sabía la recepción que tendría.
I knew that I would be welcome in this neighborhood.
Por eso es lo que dijo Lincoln, que se puede engañar
I remember what Lincoln said,
a la gente,
you can deceive
a toda la gente una parte del tiempo,
all the people part of the time,
a una parte todo
part
el
of the
tiempo,
people part of the time,
pero no se puede engañar a todo el mundo.
but not
todo el
all the people all the time.
Claro. Pero ustedes fueron la parte de la gente
But you were the part of the people
a quienes nunca pudieron
who were
engañar.
never deceived.
Vinieron numerosos dirigentes
Many,
aquí al Theresa.
many great leaders came to visit me at the Theresa
Realmente
Hotel.
aquella grosera maniobra de hostilidad.
They rejected that gross maneuver of hostility against our country. It did not pay off for anyone. Actually, it offered me an unforgettable memory and a reason for feeling eternal gratitude
hacia el pueblo norteamericano,
for the American people, because I could see in you the best representative of the virtues of the American people.
Bueno, es increíble que se repita la historia.
It's really incredible that history is repeating itself that way.
De esa forma. Ahora, yo tendría que hacerme otra pregunta.
Now, I would have to ask myself another question.
¿Por qué reciben ustedes
Why is it
con tanto respeto,
that you're receiving us here with such great respect?
Y eso tiene que tener una respuesta.
And there must be a reason for that.
Tiene que tener una respuesta. Que si otros no han cambiado, nosotros tampoco.
Because if others have not changed in their hostile positions, we have not changed either.
Y otros cambiarán.
Others might change.
Porque no tienen la razón.
Because they do not have the reason.
Y nosotros no cambiaremos.
They are not
jamás.
right, but we will never change.
Porque tenemos
because
la razón.
We are right.
La compañera Rosamari hablaba.
Comrade Rosemary here
sobre algunos de los esfuerzos
spoke about some of the
de
efforts
que ha hecho
of international solidarity that Cuba has made.
Habló de médicos.
She spoke about our doctors.
Más de 15,000 médicos cubanos.
Over 15,000 Cuban doctors have worked as internationalist missionaries in other countries.
Millones y decenas de millones de
millions and tens of millions of people have been taken care of by our doctors.
In
Africa mainly.
In America Latina.
In Latin America also. And in other parts of the world.
Cientos de miles de
hundreds of thousands of lives have been saved by our doctors' work.
Miles y miles
thousands and thousands of Cuban teachers and professors have trained technicians. Also, our technicians in many fields have gone to other countries to work. Cuba was left with only 3,000 doctors out of the 6,000 it had in 1959. 3,000 left. They were incited by best salaries here in the United States. However, nowadays we have 60,000.
Y si un día los norteamericanos
and if one day the Americans were to need doctors,
yo sé que tienen mucho,
I can tell you that we can give you.
Mucho y muy bueno.
We have many
Pero si en algún
good
lugar,
doctors.
En algún rincón,
we know
en
that you have
barrio,
them, but if
no
in any neighborhood you don't have a doctor,
nuestros médicos
our doctors would come to work here.
Para citar otro caso de solidaridad.
Just to mention another case in which solidarity was present,
los nicaragüenses necesitaron médicos.
The Nicaraguans needed doctors.
Ustedes saben que en aquella época de otras partes no le mandaron médicos.
You know that at that time doctors were not sent from other parts of the world. Others sent cannons, machine guns, bombers, and ammunitions of all kinds.
Y mientras de otras partes enviaban
So while others
hombres
were sending,
que conducían a la tragedia, a la muerte,
people to carry tragedy and death, 2,000 Cuban teachers
en su mayoría mujeres,
went there, most of them women.
Se fueron a enseñar a Nicaragua.
They went to Nicaragua to teach
Pero no
the
a
Nicaraguans
Managua,
how to read and write.
no a las ciudades,
But they did not go to Managua, not
a
to the
las
capital.
montañas.
They went to the mountains.
a las selvas,
They went to the places where there were no teachers.
a los lugares más apartados.
They went to the most remote places.
Y cuando pedimos voluntarios para
And
aquella
when we
misión,
asked for teachers to volunteer in Cuba to go to Nicaragua,
se ofrecieron 30,000.
30,000 volunteered.
30,000. Vea, hermano Bot, qué sentimiento de
Look, Brother Butts, what a sentiment of solidarity our people has.
se fue creando.
So that has been growing in our people.
Cuando algunos contrarrevolucionarios
And when some counter-revolutionaries, some gangs in
asesinaron a
Nicaragua,
algunos maestros,
some countries killed some Cuban teachers,
se ofrecieron 100,000.
100,000 Cuban teachers volunteered to take their places.
Esos fueron los valores morales que se fueron creando.
Those have been the moral values that we have been
los cambios en
creating
nuestro país.
with the changes in our country.
Y voy a citar otro ejemplo.
And I'm going to mention another example.
Cuando hubo un gran terremoto
When there was a
en
big
Perú,
earthquake in Peru,
que mató 100,000
which killed
personas,
100,000 people,
70,000
which killed
personas,
70,000 people,
pedimos donaciones de sangre.
we asked for blood donations from our people.
Y en 10 días
And in 10 days,
se ofrecieron y se hicieron
we received from our people
100,000 donaciones.
100,000 blood donations to give them to Peru.
Cuando hubo un terremoto en Armenia,
When there was an earthquake in Armenia,
se ofrecieron y se hicieron 50,000 donaciones.
50,000 blood donations were given by
Cuando
our
hubo un
people for
terremoto
them.
en Irán,
When there
también
was
se
an
hicieron
earthquake
decenas
in
de
Iran
miles
and
de
thousands of
donaciones.
people died,
Y donde
we
quiera
also
que ha ocurrido
collected
alguna
thousands of
tragedia,
donations.
algún ciclón,
And wherever
algún
there has been a tragedy, a
terremoto,
hurricane, an earthquake,
nuestros técnicos,
our
nuestros
technicians,
médicos,
our doctors,
nuestro pueblo ha
our
estado
people have
en
made their
disposición
contribution
de ayudar,
to help,
independientemente de ideologías,
regardless of ideologies,
independientemente de que tuvieran o no
regardless of whether
relaciones
those countries
diplomáticas con
had
nuestro
diplomatic
país.
relations with us or not.
En esa conciencia de que nuestro pueblo ese es el país bloqueado.
That is the country which is under a blockade.
Ese es el país al que se acusan
That
de
is the
violaciones
country
de
that
los
has been
derechos
accused
humanos.
of violations of human rights.
El país que ha elevado el promedio de vida
The country that has
a casi
raised
perspectiva de vida a casi 76.
life expectancy to almost 76.
Y que al reducir la mortalidad infantil
And that has reduced infant mortality
de
rate
60 por cada 1,000
from
nacidos
60 per
en el primer
1,000
año de
live
vida
birth
a menos de
to
10
less than 10.
ha salvado la vida. Ha salvado la vida cientos de
And in
miles
doing so, it has saved the lives of hundreds of thousands of children.
de niños. ¿Y a cuántas personas les ha prolongado la vida?
And how many people are living a
Cuánto
longer life?
dolor
How much pain
ha superado?
has been relieved?
¿Cuánto dolor físico?
How much physical
eliminado.
pain has been relieved?
Del mismo modo que eliminó en los
The
primeros
same
años
way,
el analfabetismo,
illiteracy was eradicated in the first years of the revolution.
que tiene hoy el más alto per
And today we
cápita,
have the highest per capita,
el más alto per cápita
the highest number
profesores y maestros
of
de
teachers
todos los
and
países
professors
del
per
mundo.
capita, and that among all the countries of the
Igual que
world.
tiene el más alto per cápita de médicos.
The same way we have the
Igual
highest
que tiene el más
percentage
alto
of doctors per capita in the
de
world.
médicos. Ese es el país acusado.
That is the country which is being accused of violating human rights.
Una línea invariable.
A country that has pursued
Respetar
a
de
steady
manera absoluta y
line
total
of absolute
la integridad
and total
física
respect
de las
for the
personas.
physical integrity of its
Y el
citizens.
mejor testimonio fueron los 3.000 prisioneros
And the
que
best
hicimos en
evidence
León.
were the 3,000 prisoners we got in the Bay of Pigs.
No hay uno solo
Not only one of them
que haya dicho que fue allí
can
asesinado
say that he was ill-treated.
Alguien haya sido
Not one of them
asesinado.
was killed.
al calor de los
Not one of
combates,
them was murdered even after when they were captured after battle.
o a que alguien se le haya tocado un pelo.
Not one of them was hurt.
Volvieron como héroes.
They came back as
Y
heroes.
algunos incluso cambiaron.
And some even changed after that.
Pero nadie pudo decir que
But
salió
no one could
siquiera
ever
con
say
la culata de un fusil.
That they were hit by one
Ese
of
es
our
nuestro
soldiers.
honor, esa es
That is
nuestra
our
gloria,
honor. That is our
esa es
glory.
nuestra historia,
That is
no
our
importa
history.
las
No matter
calumnias
the
que se han
slanders.
levantado contra
That is the
nosotros.
truth.
Pero ¿qué es lo más extraordinario?
But what is it the most extraordinary about this?
Es que Sudáfrica se había convertido
It is that South Africa had become
en una potencia
a
nuclear.
nuclear power by then.
Y nosotros lo sabíamos.
And we knew it.
Incluso la dislocación de nuestras
We
tropas
even deployed our
sus
forces in such a way
se realizaba tomando en cuenta que Sudáfrica
that we were taking into account that South Africa
tenía
had
armas nucleares.
nuclear warheads.
La cuestión era ver si se decidían a lanzarla o no.
The right of the matter was whether they would decide to drop it or not. Who were they going to use the weapon against?
Y después donde
Against
dentro de la
us
propia
and where?
Sudáfrica
Inside South Africa?
no se podía sostener el apartheid.
Apartheid
con
could not
armas nucleares.
sustain even if they had the nuclear
Pero por ahí
weapon.
se acaba de publicar un libro que
But a book has just
empieza
been
a circular,
published
donde se habla de que Sudáfrica
where they
tenía
say that in
ya
South Africa,
decenas
at that
de armas
time, they had
nucleares,
tens of nuclear weapons at that time.
granadas nucleares.
They even had
municiones
nuclear
nucleares,
grenades.
una respetable fuerza nuclear.
They had a respectable amount of nuclear
que se ha descubierto
warheads.
ya en detalles en virtud de
It has been
investigaciones
described in
de un
detail in that
periodista
book,
norteamericano y un
in
periodista
research made by American journalists
sudafricano.
and South African journalists, that
Alguien
was the situation at that
protestó.
time. Did anyone protest?
¿Acaso se ignoraba que Sudáfrica tenía armas nucleares?
Was perhaps ignored that South Africa had the nuclear weapons at that time?
Pero ¿por qué no se dijo una sola
Why
palabra?
was it that nobody said a word about that?
¿Por qué no hubo una denuncia?
Why was it that there was not a denunciation about South Africa having a nuclear weapon?
Porque allí estaban los cubanos
Why? Because the Cubans were fighting there.
luchando
The
contra los
Cubans were the ones
sudafricanos.
fighting the South Africans there,
Y al
the
parecer
South
algunas
African
personas
racists.
no le
And
importaba
apparently, some did not
si los
care
sudafricanos lanzaban
whether the
unas
South
cuantas
Africans
bombas
used
nucleares
the
contra
nuclear
las
bombs
tropas cubanas.
against the Cuban and Angolan
Esa es la
troops
verdad,
there.
esa es una historia que
That
está
is the
por
historical
escribir,
truth. That history
en la
is
cual hay
still
que
to be
seguir
written.
investigando y profundizando,
More research should be made
porque
about that.
según la teoría de estos
Because
escritores,
according to the theory of these journalists and
grupos
researchers,
fascistas y
fascist
racistas
groups and
surafricanos
racist groups in South Africa
han conservado
have been able
algunas
to
de
keep
esas
some
bombas.
of those weapons that they have, and they have them under their control right now.
Pero así se escribe la historia,
So that is history, you
así se
see.
manejan las relaciones
That is the way
internacionales.
international relations work.
Determinadas personas,
That
determinados
is the way
países
certain people and certain
aliados
countries look at history.
pueden fabricar armas nucleares.
Certain allies can manufacture as many nuclear weapons as they want.
y
Nobody
en
cares.
cualquier otro país,
If any other country,
como fue el caso de Corea,
as
que
it was the
fabricó
case
una
of
bomba
Korea,
sin que todavía se supiera con qué.
people say that they wanted to manufacture a nuclear bomb. Nobody knows with which resources they
El
were
gran
going to do it.
escándalo.
Anyway, a great scandal was made.
Pero la Sudáfrica de
But South Africa,
del racismo,
the racist South Africa, the South Africa of apartheid could have as many nuclear weapons as it wanted. It was allowed to have access to the nuclear energy.
De todas las armas que
it was allowed to have as many nuclear weapons as it wanted.
Por eso, al hablar de la historia
That's why, when talking about the history of these years of revolution, I think that one of the most dangerous and risky pages written by the Cubans was the one written in that struggle against the racism and apartheid in South Africa. And the Namibians and the Angolans fought.
Solo Cuba,
and outside from those two countries, only Cuba was involved. Only Cuba shed its generous blood against apartheid and against racism.
Hay países donde desaparecieron más de 20,000 personas. Desaparecidas.
There are countries where more than 20,000 people are missing. There is a country in Central America, Guatemala,
donde desaparecieron a más de 100,000.
Where over 100,000 people are missing.
Desde la invasión mercenaria
and that comes from the days of the invasion against
no quiero mencionar otros muchos países
a democratic government there. And I do not want to mention other countries, but thousands of people have disappeared in Latin America.
Jamás en Cuba.
That has never happened in Cuba.
Uno de esos países fue bloqueado. Cuba sigue bloqueada.
None of those countries has been blockaded. However, Cuba is still under the blockade.
Esa es la realidad.
And that is the reality. That is historical reality. And we are against every blockade.
En definitiva, ese bloqueo va
anyway,
contra
blockades goes against the people, against men, women, and children, against the youth and the old.
Tiende a matarlo de hambre.
It kills those people. It makes them starve.
Bloqueo ha sido tan duro.
But no blockade has been as tough and as rigorous as the blockade against Cuba.
Yo creo que no es justo.
I think it is not fair to use blockade as a weapon against any country. It is not logical.
Porque son armas contra el pueblo.
Because those are weapons against the people, against ordinary people.
No tienen por qué usarse, se quieren prohibir las pruebas nucleares.
There is no reason. People want to have a ban on nuclear tests. Yes, we agree. All the nuclear weapons should be removed.
Pero ¿qué es un bloqueo?
But what is the blockade? As we were saying today at the United Nations, if not like a noiseless atom bomb, which kills people, which kills the people, which kills the children, which kills... There is no justification for a blockade. If I have overextended in my speech, it is not because I had the idea. I have spoken this long because I wanted to meditate with you. I wanted to think with you about some of these matters with which I justify the idea that we have always been loyal, faithful to our principles, and that you, with your gesture of receiving us here tonight, recognize our loyalty to our principles.
Harlem,
here in Harlem,
conocí a Malcolm X.
I met Malcolm X.
Conocí otras muchas personalidades. Eran días difíciles.
Those were difficult days.
Siempre son difíciles.
Well, we always are in difficult days.
Días. Pero por delante estaba una lucha muy grande.
But we had ahead a very hard struggle.
La grande batalla de Martin Luther King.
The great battles of Martin Luther King were still to take place. His struggle for the civil rights. The great struggles
negras,
by the
hispánica,
the black,
latinoamericana,
the
de todas
Hispanics, the
partes,
Latin Americans,
por mejorar sus condiciones
to
de
improve their
vida,
living conditions,
la lucha de los ancianos,
the struggle by
de
the
los
elders,
enfermos.
by the sick.
Sé perfectamente
I
bien
know very well
que muchas de esas conquistas
that many of those conquests
hoy están corriendo.
are in danger today.
Sé que hay algunas personas,
I know
que quisieran barrer,
that some people would like to sweep away all those conquests.
pero barrerlo completamente.
Some people would like to do away with
La
all those
protección de los
conquests,
ancianos,
to do away with every assistance to the sick, to the
liquidar las
elder.
acciones
They would like to do away with
afirmativas,
affirmative actions.
barrer
They would like
con todo
to sweep away
grandes logros
all the great achievements
que el pueblo más humilde
that
de
the
Estados
American
Unidos
people, the ordinary, humble people of
logrado
America have attained in all these
estos
years.
años de lucha. Bueno, hago una breve referencia a
Well,
eso
I
nada
just
más,
make a brief reference to this,
y espero que nadie
and I hope
me impute por ello.
nobody
que
would
me
contest me for that.
Pero hacia Cuba, desde Estados Unidos, se transmiten alrededor de 1000 horas
About
semanales.
1,000 hours of
Son
broadcasting
semanales.
from the United States are aimed at
1000
Cuba
horas
every
semanales de
week.
radio
1,000 hours of radio broadcasting aimed against Cuba every week,
promoviendo la subversión,
promoting subversion,
los sabotajes a la
inciting to
economía,
sabotage against the economy,
atentados.
attempts against our leaders' lives.
Esta modesta persona que ustedes
This
ven aquí
modest person that you see here
tiene el privilegio,
has the privilege,
y yo creo que la iglesia debe
and
tener
I
algo
think that
con
the
eso,
church must have something to do with that,
de haber
of
sobrepasado
having survived
cientos de planes de
hundreds of
atentados.
attempts against my life.
Yo creo que las oraciones de ustedes o de muchos de ustedes están presentes
I think that your prayers have been saving me.
como aquí. Algo tiene que haber,
There must be something,
puesto que bueno,
since
¿cómo habrá sido posible?
how could it be possible?
Y todavía esos planes
And those plans
se elaboran.
are still being hatched
No
today.
estoy culpando al gobierno,
I'm not blaming the U.S.
pero hay
administration,
grupos de extrema
but there are
derecha,
extreme
fascistas,
right-wing groups, extreme
que
racist
continúan
groups that
trabajando
continue
febrilmente
to work
para
feverishly
llevar a cabo
to
atentados
carry forward attempts
contra la economía de nuestro
against the
país
economy of our country
y
and to
asesinatos
murder
de dirigentes
the
de la
leaders of our
revolución.
country.
Se mantiene como ahora, nadie se
That's
imagina
still going on.
que eso haya cambiado,
That has not changed.
en realidad. Me emocionaba el recuerdo de
I was
los hermanos
moved
Wood.
by the
Sobre-
memory when Mr. Bosworth was
La vez que
talking.
estuvimos en la iglesia
He was reminded us of the day when we went to the church in Havana.
allá en el Vedado. Yo recuerdo que aquel día yo me convertí como una especie de hermano también,
I remember that day I felt like a brother
porque
in that church
pronuncié una especie de sermón.
because I made not a speech but a kind of a sermon.
Creo que hasta
I
el
delivered a
estilo de
sermon.
sermón. Y él se recordaba de más
And he was also reminding us
cuando preguntó
of other data
sobre mis creencias.
when I was asked about my beliefs
Y lo que yo le había respondido
and what I had answered then.
con toda honestidad
I answered in all honesty
es que yo no tuve la suerte de
that
tener
I was not lucky enough
tan buenos
to
pastores.
have such good pastors.
Que en vez de decirme cree, me dijeran piensa.
Instead of telling me believe, they should have told me
Medita.
think, meditate.
Y llevaran a mi alma las convicciones.
That way they would have taken to my soul
Que
the
yo no tuve el
convictions
privilegio
that I did not have the privilege
de recibir.
of receiving.
Me convertí en sacerdote de
So I
causa
became a priest in a
que
different
pienso,
cause,
que no tengan
that I believe, though,
ninguna contradicción,
a cause that has no
con la
contradiction,
creencia religiosa.
a cause that has no
Y la idea
contradiction
de
with your
Dios.
religious belief and the
Martí
beliefs of
decía
God.
que Dios era la idea del bien, que velaba
God
el
was the idea
nacimiento
of
de
good,
cada ser humano.
of doing good to the human beings.
Y cuando él hablaba,
And while he was talking,
y yo pensaba en todos estos problemas
and I was
humanos,
thinking about all these human problems I
Todos
have
los
been discussing here
sufrimientos de la
tonight,
humanidad.
all the sufferings of humanity.
no quiero enumerar
And I do not want to go
en sí
through the long list of
lo que sufren
calamities.
4.500 millones de seres
where
humanos del tercer mundo,
4.5 billion human beings are suffering in the world.
los miles de millones de ignorantes,
What billions of
hambrientos,
illiterate,
gente por debajo del
starving
nivel de la
people, people who are
pobreza,
living under the poverty
sin
line,
educación,
are going
sin
through
salud, sin
without
nada.
education, without medical
Cuando
care.
veo tanto
When I see
sufrimiento,
so much suffering,
me recordaba al hablar el hermano Bot
I remember while Brother Butts was talking
una historia o una leyenda
of the story or the legend
de un indio cubano,
of a Cuban native aborigine.
el indio
Atuey was his name.
que con ese espíritu de conquistador con que llegaron
The Spaniards
los españoles
arrived in our countries with that spirit of
a la
conquerors.
América Latina,
They arrived with that spirit in Latin America.
con la cruz y con la espada.
They came with the cross and the sword.
Deben comprender que la cruz no se puede
You should understand that the
introducir a
cross
través de la
cannot
espada.
be introduced with the sword.
Pero el indio Atuey se sublevó contra
That
los
aborigine Atuey
conquistadores
uprised against the conquerors,
y lo condenaron a morir en
and
la
he was
hoguera.
sentenced to die in the fire.
Cuando estaba en la hoguera,
And while he was
le dijeron
there in the fire, he was told
que existía un cielo
that there was heaven
y que a él lo querían bautizar para que fuera.
and that he should be baptized to be able to go to heaven.
Entonces
And then he asked,
el indio preguntó si los españoles
if the
iban al
Spaniards
cielo.
go to that heaven, I do not want to go there.
Y él no dijo si creía o no creía, dice, bueno, entonces
He was not asked whether he believed or not.
yo no quiero
He
ir
said,
al cielo.
if they go to heaven, then I do not want to go there.
Del mismo modo en este mundo muchos
And nowadays, in this world,
que nos hablan del cielo.
there are many who speak to us about heaven.
En este mundo
In this world,
tan llenos de
right
abusos
here, in this world so full of abuses,
y tan llenos de injusticia.
so full of injustices.
Y en ese sentido,
And in that sense,
yo podré decir
I could say
a ese cielo
that heaven
que ustedes practican en este mundo,
that you practice in this world,
nosotros
we do
no
not want to
queremos
go
ir.
there. We do not believe in that heaven.
Nosotros Nosotros queremos ir a un cielo de justicia
We want to go to a heaven where there is
y de
justice,
dignidad humana.
where there is human dignity.
Nosotros queremos ir a un
We want to
cielo
go to a heaven
de hermandad.
where there is brotherhood.
Y por en ese cielo
And in that heaven,
creo.
I believe.
Y por ese cielo
And for
estoy
that
dispuesto a dar
heaven,
mi vida.
I'm willing to give up my life.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
historia es mucho más que nuestro tiempo, es un canto de paz, de luz y amor.
Jamás intentará mi brazo armado herir con dagas de odio y de rencor a quien haga su nido en otro lado, buscando en el infierno salvación.
Mi historia no es historia mercenaria, pagada con monedas de dolor. Mi historia se escribió en la lucha diaria, izando la bandera del honor.
Es el juego de los buenos, tú intentas por dinero dividir. La patria es pedestal y no tenemos que herirla como nos pidió Martín.
No puedes aceptar vernos felices, labrando con ternura el porvenir.
No es digno mancillar nuestras raíces, por la patria se lucha hasta morir.
Mi historia no es historia mercenaria, pagada con monedas de dolor. Mi historia se escribió en la lucha diaria, izando la bandera del honor.
No me digas que tú eres un patriota de verdad, promoviendo la maldad, matar en mano prefieres, hieres mis amaneceres con puñales de traición, mercenario sin razón, porque poco te vendiste, si un artista tú te hiciste en esta revolución. No respetas tu bandera ni te respetas tú mismo y manchas el patriotismo histórico de esta era. Quieres donde el odio impera, negar lo que defendemos, lo que hemos sido y seremos, pero Fidel resucita y junto a Cuba te grita, patria o muerte venceremos.
Mi historia no es historia mercenaria, pagada con monedas de dolor.
De dolor, de dolor, de dolor.
Mi historia se escribió en la lucha diaria, izando la bandera del honor. Mi historia no es historia mercenaria, pagada con monedas de dolor.
De dolor, de dolor, de dolor.
Mi historia se escribió en la lucha diaria, izando la bandera del honor. Mi historia no es historia mercenaria, pagada con monedas de dolor. Mi historia se escribió en la lucha diaria, izando la bandera del honor.
De la patria, brillando el mar que canta desde adentro, celeste corazón en la montaña, lluvia del amor en cada puerto, rojo es la razón que no descansa, púrpura el fusil del guerrillero, isla de los sueños escarlata, sangre del empeño hasta el anhelo, blanco es el amor que te rescata, latiendo desde un claro sentimiento, lúcido el color de la esperanza, coraje coraje y libertad en cada verso. Bendito el sol que abraza tus arenas, colores de arrecifes que se prestan para plantar escudo ante la ofensa.
Y esa es mi tierra.
Sublimes son las calles que te pueblan, no son los laberintos que encadenan, es el amor alzando el vuelo a mi bandera. Tus arenas, colores de arrecife que se prestan para plantar escudo ante la ofensa.
Y esa es mi tierra.
Sublimes son las calles que te pueblan, no son los laberintos que encadenan, es el amor alzando el vuelo a mi bandera.